Squad up, haters down, haters down. If you ain't about that life, don't come around, don't come around. Got the crowd, going wild, going wild. Tell me what you know about that milk style, that milk style.
Yo, y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's the Memphis Joke Show. How y'all doing out there? How y'all doing out there, man? Hey, we back once again with a new episode, man. But we got one of our guests on here, man, who has had the most numbers that has ever been done on the Memphis Joke Show. He's speaking that knowledge, man. He putting y'all up on game. He is really trying to help the community. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody out here who, you know what I'm saying, struggling financially. Or trying to grow your business, grow your own business. Or just trying to figure out a budget or something, or just figure out how to, like, you know, get your money to stretch longer than what it's actually stretching now. All y'all need to be watching this. All y'all need to be watching this. You know what I'm saying? Everybody out there on Facebook, I need y'all to like and share. Everybody out there on YouTube, I need y'all to like and share. You know what I'm saying? Leave some comments, you know what I'm saying? And the phone lines are open. I know a lot of y'all coming off that presidential debate last night, and y'all probably like wondering, like, what in the fuck? Yo, that was a crazy deal, you know what I'm saying? But more power to both of them, you know what I'm saying? We'll see. May the best man win, or may the best woman win. This is a first. So shout out to, you know, Trump, and shout out to Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? Hey, may the best win. But y'all can call in if y'all want to talk about it. Y'all can call in 901-410-0123. We can sure talk about it. So I ain't even gonna hold y'all, cause y'all already know who I got with me. And it ain't nope. Oh, see, they thought it now they thought it was DJ Cautious. Shout out to DJ Cautious, man. DJ Cautious got the brand new radio station. It's on 96.3 FM, bumping 96.3 FM. And all y'all artists out there who always talking about, man, we can't never get our stuff on the radio. Well, now you can get your stuff on the radio, because my bro, DJ Cautious, got his own show. Live in the mix with DJ Cautious. So get at him. He got the low rates going. He want to see all y'all make it. You know what I'm saying? All you got, your stuff just got to sound, you know what I'm saying, good. And then you got to have your little $50 budget, and he playing your record, you know, 4 times. You know what I'm saying? For that $50 budget, man, what's wrong with y'all? Where y'all artists at? I thought y'all wanted to be artists. I thought y'all wanted to rap. This will get y'all in front of the whole Memphis, Arkansas, and Mississippi, man. Y'all better start investing in y'all self, man. But
drums, please.
Oh is in the building. He on mute, but he in the building. You was on mute, but you in the building though.
How you doing tonight, man? It's been a minute.
Man, it's been a minute. Oh, man, you done had a birthday and every doggone thing.
Yeah, listen, another year older, man. I praise God for that.
Okay, I'm about to play your theme music for your birthday. You ready?
Yeah.
Happy birthday! Oh. So, man, next year I'm hoping that we can negotiate a deal to where your birthday don't fall on Wednesday. On show night. Your birthday was on show night. He gonna call me talking about, oh man, my wife, I think she want to take me out to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's my
Yeah.
birthday. Yeah. We got like one of the most important guests
Man,
ever.
Yeah, I had you on YouTube though. I was watching.
Love on. I'm just joking. I'm just jiving, man. How was it though?
It was great, man. Fantastic. I had a good time, man. Anytime you can get a year older and a year wiser, man, it's always a blessing, man. The way people falling off these days, man, listen, I just count it all joy, man. But no, it was good though, man. I had to work, but actually I took off this year. I usually don't take off for my birthday, but I took off this year. I took a page out of my daddy book and I took off, let them handle it on their own. You know what I'm saying?
That's a blessing. That's a blessing, bro. But I know, you were just saying, like, every day is a blessing, you know what I'm saying? So if you don't mind, can we please do a quick moment of silence for the rich homie Quan? Rest in peace. Rest in peace, rich homie Quan. Tomorrow is not promised, man. I promise y'all, man. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If y'all just now tuning in, you know what I'm saying, hit that like button, you know what I'm saying. If you ain't subscribed yet on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, if you ain't went to MemphisJokes.com, shame on you.
Best thing you can do for us is share this show, right? That's the best thing you can do. Share,
Yep.
get, comment, engage with us, man. That's all we asking for.
Yep. Well, we ain't gonna hold him, man, because tonight's guest, man, he's a returning guest.
Yeah.
But he holds the record for the most views to ever be on the Memphis Joke Show, and rightfully so, because the knowledge that he has, not only do I be learning from him, man, but I be hoping that my audience really tune in and really listen to what he's saying, because man, he has the knowledge that can help you, especially in these trying times that we're living in.
Yeah.
On the financial tip.
Not to mention this is free information, right?
And he's giving it to you for free. Free information. And the phone lines are open. So if you got a specific question about your specific situation, you better call tonight and talk, then ask him immediately.
You better get this free knowledge tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I bring to y'all the one, the only.
Drums, please.
Henning is in the building.
What's good, man?
Man, what's up, cuz, man? It's good to have you back.
Man, look, it's happy to be back, man. I told you we was going to do a part 2.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I couldn't wait. Like, I still, I know this episode is about to be like so knowledge filled, and it's going to be, definitely on the level to where we're going to be able to learn and grow. You know what I'm saying? Because last time, ever since like we did the first one, I done grew. You know what I'm saying? Just with my mental, health, and with my, the way I make decisions when it comes to, to finances and things like that.
That's a blessing, man. Look, first off, I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to see the growth. I'm happy to see the new setup. I'm just happy, man. Overall, I think as long as all of us wake up with the mentality we're going to do better than we did yesterday, man, I think everybody going to reap the benefits of that. So I'm always happy to be back, be part of your audience. I done seen your growth, you and old growth, and I'm excited to be here, man. And I hope people watch this episode and get something out of it like they did the last time.
Same here, cuz. Man, so we were talking backstage, and you were telling me about the brand has grown, because when you were here the first time, you were helping people with their credit, things of that nature. So can you explain to us a little bit about the evolution of the brand?
Yeah, man. So I think evolution is, I think there are certain buzzwords in business spaces. So there's evolution and pivot and generational wealth, and all those things are true. I just think sometimes they kind of misinterpret it. But for us, and I say us as in, just not only myself, but also my wife and now also our children. Uh, you know, I think if anybody's seen my platform, they already know we have our children on payroll already. So not only does that put money towards the things that we would already buy for them, that also gives them a sense of responsibility, and it also save the business on taxes. But that's another thing for another time. But I think for us, it's just a matter of as the brand grew, and as things started to really solidify foundationally for the brand as a whole, we still have Reignland. Reignland is our baby. It will never go away. But as you start to grow, not only as a group, but also individually, it kind of causes you to kind of pivot into, figuring out what the rest of your identity looks like. So my wife, shout out to Summer Rain Henning, anybody on all platforms. My wife is killing it with not only teaching content creation, but also making content on a full-time basis. She has a management company that gets her brand deals. We're talking Microsoft, we're talking Clorox, we're talking Pine Sol. So she has her own heavy motion going over here. And of course, we still have things together. And because of that, it kind of forced my hand, which is a blessing in disguise, to figure out what my contribution individually to this is. Not only that, but also with our children as well. We have the family YouTube channel, Hanging with the Hennings on YouTube, just passed 100,000 subscribers a few weeks ago. I'm very proud of that accomplishment, just because you hear so many things about YouTube, and I can tell y'all now, if you invest in it, just like all these platforms will invest in you and they will pay you accordingly. So I think overall, in terms of trying to reestablish or establish a new identity, that's the reason why Reignland still exists. It's still a brand. We have a credit academy coming up in 2 days, actually. That I'm pretty sure we'll talk about towards the back end. I'm also giving exclusive discount code that you only gonna get on this show if you watch this show. So I'm also gonna plug that. But overall, man, like we just overall just expanded. So we teach car rental still. We do car rental still. We invested in a credit company. We also teach people how to fix it on their own. We teach content creation. We also make content. I've also invested in some software, some e-commerce software platforms similar to Shopify, waste management. We're just trying to be as diverse as possible now that we solidified our foundation. And I think it's tended to work out for us.
Can you talk a little bit, and maybe I'm not necessarily sure if you can, but can you talk a little bit about what content creation is, and talk about how people can tap into that as a source of income?
Yeah, man, look, I think I've been very blessed because, in my opinion, I have one of the best content creators out on my side. So I see this content being made on a daily basis and see how much goes into it. And I think, like I was saying previously, if you really commit to it, and I'm not saying commit as in you got the best camera or you got the best background or anything like that. I'm not talking about equipment. I'm talking about time. If you invest the time, not only the time in terms of getting on the platform, because that's always step one. That's always the hurdle for people. Even when I do my coaching, is the hardest part for most people is actually starting. So I think first you have to understand that you're not going to get anywhere, regardless of the speed, whether you get there slow or whether you get there fast. You have to start. And in order to start, you have to figure out who your audience is and who you're speaking to. Because as we all know, if you're speaking to everybody, you are speaking to nobody. So you have to also understand that when you're making your content, you have to understand who your content is for and what you want as a result of the content. Some people, just like a commercial is not to entertain you, is to really get your attention enough to want to purchase something after the fact. Or when you see it in stores, you're going to be like, oh, I saw that commercial. I don't know if you guys have it here, But I know here we have you hear on the radio all the time, Top Dog Law.
Man,
And it's just
yes.
Oh my God.
we have it down here, and they come on the radio every 10 minutes. And when you hear it, as annoying as it may be at times, you remember them.
Yes.
That is the key to content creation in business in general, is finding a way to, when your audience either sees it, hears about it, they automatically can identify it with whatever you're doing. So the main part to tap into content creation is finding your audience and really studying your audience. It's not just making content and then not really doing any follow-up. It takes make the content and then it may not hit. You have to make another piece of content. It may not hit. And you have to combine that with what do I necessarily want to be known for? You don't want to be the guy creating content that's pranks, but then you want to pivot into a serious role at some point because they're going to know you as that guy. So you have to be careful with making content on something that either you don't want to do, but you think is going to be popular, or doing something that maybe necessarily you're passionate about, but realistically it ain't going to make you no money. And I think that's the key, regardless of the type of content or regardless of the equipment you use to make the content or the quality. You have to figure out who you want to be, and then learn how to accentuate who you want to be on that platform in order to spread that message out. And everything else will come back to you once you figure that part out.
One follow-up question. And I just ask this just in general for people who might be watching. Is content creation for everybody? Is everybody a content creator?
Ooh.
Or is there certain things that you need to possess, or a certain type of mindset, or a certain type of skill set maybe you need to have?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Content creation can be for anybody. However, content creation is not for everybody. So anybody can make content, but what is your goal for the content?
Yeah.
Every day we walk out of our house, I consider myself content, because people are going to look at you, and they're going to look at me, and they're going to look at my family, and they're going to wonder what we do for a living. They're going to see how we conduct ourselves. If we walk into certain spaces looking a certain way, they're going to wonder. They're going to start to wonder. Their brains are going to start to work. So I do feel like everybody is content, but I also feel like you have to understand what your goal is for the content. Are you trying to make money, or are you trying to get views? Are you trying to get likes? Are you trying to pivot this? Are you trying to use your content to push people towards your email list to then convert them into paying customers? There's a lot of content creators out here that get thousands of views or millions of likes who can't parlay that audience into paying customers. And if you're not doing that, what is the point of being so popular, but you still can't make money off of that popularity? So that's why I say it can be for anybody, because anybody can pick up a camera and make content. But that doesn't mean that everybody should, depending on your goals. Because just because you get 500,000 likes, or just because you get 1 million views, if you're not putting the work behind it or the push behind it after the fact, you're not going to retain those people, let alone get them to pay you money to do anything. So you're going to have to figure out another source of income. And at that point, I don't know what we're doing. So our goal in business is to make money. Now, if you're making content for the love of it and for maybe an ego boost, and you're not trying to make no money off of it, then by all means, pick up your camera and talk how you want to talk, walk how you want to walk, look how you want to look, have your house looking the way you want to look. Whatever the case may be, you do your thing. But if you're trying to make it a business or parlay it into something that can be financially beneficial that you can maintain, then you have to put the real time in to figure out and study. My wife studies this constantly. You look at the numbers. The numbers bear out. Every business platform or every business dashboard, from Instagram to TikTok to Facebook to YouTube, gives you analytics. They tell you who's watching, women, what age, what time, and half these people are not even looking at their analytics to know that just because you want to post at 2:00, that's not your audience. Your audience is looking at your content at 9:00.
Yeah.
So if you're not even looking at the numbers are the ones are the truth tellers. So if you're not even looking at your numbers, I don't think you're really serious about being like a content creator in terms of financial gain. That's just my opinion.
Y'all got a business for this? Y'all teach people how to do this?
Hey, look, my wife, she has
Go
hands
ahead and
down,
plug that right now, because
I feel like she
somebody
got
need
one of
that.
the best content creation courses you can get. There are plenty of people who swear by it, who have already gotten brand deals out of it, who've increased their views. And like we were talking about earlier, I think before you got on, we were talking backstage. A lot of people's issue is they're trying to figure out a way to get 1 million views on a platform.
Yeah.
And the issue is, it's either, for most people, it's either 1 million or it's nothing. So even if you post your content and you get 5,000, you're no longer conditioned to be cool with that and then expand upon that because you feel like your content is better or up to par with some other people's content. So you're comparing your platform to other people when truth be told, you don't know any of these people and you don't know what they've done and you don't know what they had to tweak over time. Yeah. So before we could even talk about getting somebody to 1 million views or a 6-figure brand deal, or like my wife who has had brand deals with Microsoft and things of that nature, we got to get you to a point where you can just start posting consistently to even get a big enough sample to figure out what you need to tweak. We got to get you from 0 views to 500 views, and then 500 views to 1,500 views, and so on and so forth. If you can figure out how to get 500 views, you can figure out how to tweak it and get 1,500, 2,500, 3,500. But don't get so stuck on how 500 doesn't sound like a lot when you didn't start out with any. That doesn't make any sense, and you're gonna stunt your own growth trying to have that mentality of trying to make content or really make any money out here. Period.
You know, I agree with that because I think what most people do is they see the one viral moment from some of these people, but they neglect the work that they've been putting in for some people years, right? They got so much content built up that they've been making for years that they've been prepared for the moment to take advantage of the viral video or the viral content or the viral meme, whatever it may be. Like they're able to take advantage of that because of the time and the work that they've been put in. And I think some people, they just looking for that one moment to go viral, not realizing that, hey, I still need the quantity and the quality of content to be able to support this exposure that I have. Because like for me, right, if you go viral, the first thing I'm gonna go do is look at your page, and I'm probably gonna go through, if I like you, I'm gonna go through just about every video you got on there. And that's gonna for just for me, right? That's gonna determine if I'm going to actually follow you, if I'm actually gonna invest my time in watching you, if I'm gonna go over to YouTube, because that's where your full video at, and watch it, if I'm gonna subscribe to that YouTube page. Like for me, that's my thought process. If I go to your page and all I see is this one little clip that went viral, like you ain't got nothing else, I'm off of you. You know, like I don't have anything else I want to do. I'm not even gonna follow you.
Yeah, we're just gonna assume it was luck. We're just gonna assume, you know, which make no mistake about it. If somebody manages to get a viral video or a viral photo, I support that 100%. But it goes back to what is your mentality when it comes to what you want to do with it? Because some people don't really have any intention of going viral, and then they go viral, and that's okay. That you don't know what to do after that. But you do have to start thinking, like we talk a lot about with my mentees about brand management. And you are a brand whether you started a business or not, because the first thing that people see is you. So you have to determine what you want to go viral for. So if you're just posting things in order to try to find which one hits, but it's not stuff that you want to keep doing over and over and over again, then you're gonna put yourself in a little bit of a situation, because now people are going to know you for this thing, regardless of whether you want to be known for this thing or not. You're going to be known for this thing, and if you don't want to maintain it, then you shouldn't really even start it, depending on what it is. And I feel like a lot of people get so hyped up about they want to be somebody that they haven't prepared to be. So then you wonder why it doesn't work, because you haven't prepared to be this person. Like you prepared to have these things, but you've never thought about how you're going to maintain these things. So just like you said, you get 1 million views and now you're stuck because now you're scrambling trying to figure out how to duplicate it. You're going to end up doing the same thing with no tweaks, no updates, no alterations, no nothing. And you're going to keep trying to do that same thing until you wear it out, and you're going to get diminishing returns. So you have to look at, even if you get 1 million views on a video, you have to figure out, okay, well, what can I do with this video to tweak it just to make it a little bit better? Maybe it's background, maybe it's scenery, maybe it's the way it was cut, but I'm gonna keep the general topic of what it was about on task. Then it's like, okay, then you slowly make tweaks here or there. It's a lot easier to do that than if you to just run the thing into the ground.
So they're coming out with like all kind of new technology and stuff that helps create content. Can you speak to like any of the technologies that you recommend that people use to kind of, okay, so like for me, for instance, I use Canva to like create like the flyers and stuff like that to promote like my next upcoming guests and stuff. Sometimes I use Chat GPT to like co-write certain posts and stuff that I post. Are you guys like experimenting with any of the new AI tools when you're creating the content?
I know, at least for me, because my wife, she likes to, in terms of like, even in terms of her voiceovers and her scripts, she likes things her specific way. And she's also not, when it comes to like anything AI related, I tend to be the one to more lean into it. It's something that you can't avoid. It's coming whether you whether you like it or not. Yeah. So you do have to embrace it. Now there is a certain line of demarcation to where I do feel like AI is here to stay, but I also feel like it's not going to replace. It's going to replace a lot of things, but in terms of like AI, it's not going to replace. To me, it's not going to be able to replace hands-on experience. So yeah, there may be. You hear about like stores, like there's an Amazon store that's fully automated. They're making Walmart stores that are fully automated. But when it comes to our space and my space specifically, where we're talking about coaching, or we're talking about any type of educational teaching, a lot of it is like we talk about YouTube University. You could find somebody on YouTube to talk about something that you're interested in. But the difference is, and what's going to separate the people who fall off because of AI and the people who thrive despite AI and even work with AI, is because AI can't replace my experience. It can't replace my stories. Like AI may be able to tell you based off of a Google search. For example, it may be able to tell you where you can get credit cards from, for example, but it can't tell you my experience personally with maybe getting a credit card too early and then maxing it out and not being able to pay it. And this is how I got out of that. So I feel like what's going to separate the haves from the have-nots is their ability to take their experiences, which comes with, having time in, having years in, being able to take risks, having experiences, and being able to parlay that into whatever you are selling. Anybody who has been part of my one-on-one coaching sessions, I always give them a story based off of an experience that I've had that relates to what they're asking me. So if you're asking me about a business that you haven't started yet and that you're worried about XYZ, I'm going to give you a story about XYZ because at this point in the game, I've done it all and I've seen it all. I'm not going to tell you to do something that I haven't done because I need to be able to explain to you, look, I know that you think this is rough, but let me tell you about this story, or let me tell you about this example. Because 9 times out of 10, most of the things that stopping people from really starting anything is their own mindset based off of past experiences. Nobody in your family has ever done it, so you are automatically conditioned to think that you can't do it. And it happens to most of us. And there's nobody to blame for that. Nobody's coming to save you in that regard, but you do have to understand that nobody's coming to save you. You're responsible for what you decide to do and what you decide to not do. So we overall have to get towards that mentality of what can AI do for me? I don't have AI write anything for me, but for example, we just did in my group mentorship program, I just did a full webinar on using AI, things like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is free. There are paid plans, but you can sign up for a free account and it just gives you a max amount of time you can use it before you have to wait a little bit of time to use it again. But you could easily, for example, in my webinar, we went over how you can take ChatGPT and you can type in that you want ChatGPT to create you a 4 week a 4 week content schedule based on insert topic here. So, for example, with the show, you could easily put in the chat GPT and say, act as my podcast director, create me a 4 week schedule for every Wednesday to create, to talk about all things podcast. And it'll give you just an outline of topics that you can talk about, so you don't have to worry, so you don't spend so much time trying to rack your brain for months trying to figure out what to talk about. And then you can use them to figure out what to talk about, and then use your own experience to then fill in the gap of how you're going to talk about it.
Keep going, cuz, man. You preaching.
That's key, man. Like, even like you said, Canva. I consider Canva. I've been using Canva for a while. I use Canva for logos. I use Canva for the ebooks that I write, because I write my own ebooks. I use them for flyers. I use them for my content calendar that I print out and keep with me weekly. I use them for organization. Canva is a free app. Everybody should be aware of what Canva is by now, but Canva is a free app. You can get somebody to make you flyers and make you logos, and but honestly, when you're just starting out, I don't want you spending a week or 2, 3, 4 looking for somebody to make you the perfect logo, when you could have just got a very simple logo, get started, and then go back and figure out the back end part. So I heard everybody to embrace AI. Just don't think that AI is going to replace hard work and replace experience.
Yeah. I think that's some great advice. My personal opinion, I think AI can fill in all the gaps that you can't afford to do right now. All of the things that you don't have the bandwidth, right? You don't have a PR team with you, but you can use AI in order to get press, write up some press stuff, to write up some backgrounds, to write up some different things that can help you compensate for not having a machine or a big team to do things. Maybe you're not the best speaker, maybe you're not the best off the cuff with speeches, and you need some help with that. But I do think, there will be some people that will be overly using these things and come relying on them. And then when it comes to like really doing the work yourself, you won't, because like, I don't think you're going to be able to use ChatGPT to get to certain tiers. You can use it to take some steps up, but there are certain tiers where you're going to have it. You're going to have the experience. You're going to have to be polished enough in order to engage with companies or with businesses that are a higher tier of exposure, a higher tier of financial back, and a higher tier of partnership. And AI is not going to be able to sustain you there. No, I think it's good tools to help build you there, but I don't think it's going to be able to sustain you there. And it's here, like people using it in college now. I don't know what they're going to do about that,
Yeah, there's nothing they can really. I mean, look, there are a lot of things they try to put in place. Yeah. In schools and in colleges, of course, but these versions of these things have been around for a while. I think personally, most of the time, by the time it becomes like a big news story, the people who are maybe of higher power or influence have already probably used it and used it up. And then by the time you hear about it, it's already been used by the people who've already gotten all they're going to get out of it. So as you stated, I do think there is a level of course, you're going to have people, because even when I talk to customers and clients and mentees, and there is a concern that they don't know who to listen to, because they think that somebody's going to be out here and they're going to use ChatGPT to give specific facts. They're going to use ChatGPT and AI to create courses, for example. They're going to use it to make their entire speeches, so when they're talking to people, they're pre-recorded and they're reading. And I think, look, there are going to be people who do use it for that reason. Yep. Your concern should not be those people, because exactly what you said a moment ago, if you have any inkling about whether somebody is walking what they're talking or really living a life, use every avenue you have to be aware. I don't want somebody to necessarily look at what I got around my neck or what I got around my wrist or what I drive or where I live to determine whether you should listen to me. These not the only factor, But I think at the same time, we also have to be realistic with ourselves and understand us as a people. If certain people, if they didn't look like that, or if they didn't drive what they drive, or if they didn't live where they live, you wouldn't listen to them.
Yeah.
So it's up to the content creator or the educator or the coach or the business person to be the best business person that they can be. But it's also upon the client, the customer, the mentee, whoever it is, to also know what they're trying to get out of that specific situation. There hasn't been any one conversation that I've had with anybody, whether they have more money than me, less money than me, or in a higher position than me, or a lower position than me. There hasn't been a single conversation that I've had since we've been in business with anybody who I haven't been able to get something out of. So to me, at the end of the day, the difference between what we have a fear of, which is people trying to use it to come up, like you said, you're only going to be able to get so far using it, because eventually you're going to be in the room shaking hands with these people. You're going to be, I believe a couple of weeks ago, I was on a five-person panel here in Atlanta with other, 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs. I can't read off a paper for that. There's no teleprompter for that. So you ask a question, I don't even know what you're going to ask me ahead of time. So you're going to ask me a question, and I have to give it based off of my experiences, and I have to give it based off my knowledge, and I have to give it based off of just overall how I feel based off of my experiences and my numbers and my history. AI is not going to be able to replace that.
Can't even.
I want to take a moment and shift gears. That was an awesome conversation right there about AI, y'all. I want to switch gears though. So yesterday, somebody in Texas ended up winning that $800 million Mega Millions. But I've read that most people who end up winning the lottery, some way or another, end up being broke.
Thanks.
But that's not my question. My question is, you don't even really have to be like you don't really have to win the lottery for like millions. But what about the person who just starts making money in another tax bracket? Let's say a person started off, they weren't making that much money, and then all of a sudden they get a promotion or something, and then now they're in a new tax bracket. What's some advice that you can give to them, those kind of people, to where they're not just rich, but they have kind of struck a little gold, but they don't know how to make the right decisions financially because they've never been in that financial situation before?
That's a good question. So I always tell people who ask me that if you go from making, because I've been there, and I always tell the story. If anybody goes to my Facebook page, my story is there the day I quit my job, and I haven't been back since. But I always tell the story that I made more money that first year I was in business than I had made my entire 20s. So that's 10 years. And I made more money in that year than I had made that entire decade. That is a shock to the system. That's a shock to your mind. That's a shock to your body as well, because it becomes a whole new level of responsibility. So I always tell people, one of the first things I always advise when you come into consistently substantial amounts of money, or you pop, or you have a business that start doing very well, the first thing you have to do is look for people who are doing the exact same thing. Because first, what's going to happen is you're going to come into money, and typically we're not surrounded by people who have had access to this amount of money to this extent. So you're going to go to the person to your left, the person to your right, and you're going to ask them what you should do. And through no fault of their own, they never touched this amount of money. I don't typically, when it comes to certain advice, I don't listen to people who either are coming back from where I'm trying to go, or whether you succeeded or failed doesn't matter to me. Because if you failed and you came back, you can tell me what happened. If you succeeded and you're still thriving, you can also tell me what I need to do in the pitfalls because of that. So first off, I always tell people to start finding people who are doing better than you even in that moment, because now you're officially in a different tax bracket. So you find people who are doing better than you, whether it be a coach, whether it be a mentor, whether it's even somebody that you know that has had money for an extended period of time and has been able to maintain it. And then after that, you have to start looking into what your plan is for the next 3-5 years. I can't get you to 10 years because realistically, if you ain't never had nothing, it would be unrealistic for me to be like, man, you need to save all your money and you need to do this and you need to do that. All those things are important, but even though saving isn't as important as investing, but especially in the beginning, if you haven't had money, you need to save. Don't necessarily listen to somebody who tells you like, man, there's no point in saving and the bank is going to do nothing with, like, no, you need to save because you have never experienced this process before. So you at the very least need to put some of that money up to cover your living expenses, just in case you can't repeat this process, whether it be a month, 2 months, 6 months. Put some money up, because even if you keep maintaining at the route that you're going, if you have a job, you want to be able to quit that job knowing that you have 6 months in the hole. So even if business slows down, you can still maintain your current lifestyle. And then also, I would say that you need to really focus on making sure you don't lifestyle creep in the beginning. If anybody is not familiar with lifestyle creep, that's where you're making $50,000 a year and you're making it, you're okay. And then you make $100,000 a year, but then your expenses go up to $90,000 a year. You're almost in the same space as you were before. And you wonder why, it doesn't feel like you have the freedom that you thought $100,000 would bring. It's because you did all these things to increase, your expenses. So don't fall for the lifestyle creep. I will never be somebody that tells somebody to not purchase certain things that you maybe never thought you would obtain, but it all comes in sequences and seasons. One of the best things that my father ever told me was, he said, you can either have a handful of big things now, or you can have 2 handfuls of small things over the next handful of years. And that has always stuck with me, because once you really start making money, there's only so many things you're going to be able to buy yourself before you realize that, okay, I had a nice 3-year run, but now I'm back to where I was, where I didn't want to be. So sometimes you have to establish delayed gratification in order to make sure that you can sustain this. So figure out how much money it takes for you to maintain your current lifestyle. Figure out a way to take the money that you just acquired and be able to put that into something that can pay that. And then let that thing that you just invested into that is paying your expenses be the thing that you then use to pay any of your wants, your desires, your goals, your vacations, anything like that. Because we don't want you to just have a nice 2-year run of vacations and trips and cars. I want you to be able to have 10 to 15, 20 years of sustained success, sustained freedom. And freedom only comes when you don't have to work as hard as you were at your previous occupation or your 9-to-5 job. So those are the main keys I would tell anybody to start off with if you come into any type of money or your business pops.
That's real, man, because in the field that I'm in, like, outside of my career, like in the music world, I've known, people who they'll come across a certain amount of money and then you'll see them a few years later and it's all gone. They're right back, like, where they started from in the beginning. So that's definitely a gem, man, to anybody out there who listening, who like in the artist world, or whether you own a business or just whether you get promoted on your job. You know what I'm saying? Those are definitely gems, man, that y'all need to definitely take heed to. And I'm definitely going to take heed to them as well.
We see it all too much in the music industry, and even I see it on our coaching side, where don't come to me if you talk about quitting your job, because if you come to me and you talk about quitting your job, I'm going to ask you why. And if you tell me you just tired of it, or you're gonna get real tired of being on your own. Because guess what your 9 to 5 handles that you don't think about? Your taxes, your
Yep.
security, your health insurance, once again, taxes, the IRS, they handle all those things, and essentially they handle your budget because they take all those things out before you get the check. So when you get out here on your own and you start having money come in at a rapid rate, guess who's responsible for putting that percentage up or sending that check to the IRS in advance or quarterly? You are. And ain't nobody gonna tell you, hey, you need to, ain't nobody gonna tap you on your shoulder or do your payroll for you. You're going to have to establish that on your own. So you're going to need more than just, I'm tired of my boss, in order for me to tell you to quit your job. I'm not going to tell anybody to quit their job unless you got a plan or you have history of moderate success that in order to achieve greater than that, you just need time and capital. So if you already have an established business and it's just not growing at the rate that you would like, but it is growing, then we can start talking about not even quitting your job, maybe cutting hours in half. But you have to have a plan, like I was saying earlier, about while this building period is going on, how are you going to supplement that income that you'll be losing? It's not just, well, my job pays me $4,000 a month, which is very high. Let's say $2,000. My job pays me $2,000 a month, and I'm barely making it. Then why in the world would you quit with no plan? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not going to be the person to tell you to follow your dreams and hey, follow your gut. Like, no, because your gut, I can attest to this. Sometimes your gut will tell you that you're hungry and you're really not. So you have to understand that, sometimes it's gut, but then sometimes you also have to use the information that is available to you in that moment. And if you're looking at your situation and you can't tell me what your 60-day, 90-day plan is, and also you don't have a history, for example, of investing your own funds, because the reason why you probably can't start your own business is because you say you don't have any money, but you have money, you're just spending it in different places that you're not willing to spend on because you feel like you're spending somebody else's money. You're spending somebody else's time. So your time is going to this place over here. So you feel like I deserve to spend the little money that I do have on my wants. When you get out here on your own, I'm the last person on this list. I got business expenses. I have people I have to pay in customer service. I have accountants. I have bookkeepers. I have software. All those things get paid before I do. And even then, I'm on a salary. So just because you make all this money doesn't mean that money is yours. That's where a lot of people get messed up. So that's why I always encourage people, you have to go find somebody who is doing what you are attempting to do, because most of us don't have people within arm's reach that have ever done it. So you got to do a little extra work and find those people. Social media has made that readily available with Facebook groups. With you can DM celebrities now. You can DM people, mid-level people. We don't need you to DM a millionaire. I need you to DM somebody who's making $300,000 a year, because that's going to be the person that's going to have tips that are more relatable to what you have going on right now. That millionaire is going to tell you, hey, keep your head down and just have a good work ethic and keep going, and don't spend your money on frivolous items. And it's like, those things may be true, but if you come from where we come from, me telling you not to spend money and me expecting you not to waste money at some point, that would be unrealistic. I know you're going to go out here and blow a bag at some point because you ain't never had nothing. So instead of me trying to make you feel bad about it, I'm going to try to guide you with either a budget or some type of spending system to where, okay, take your money, take a chunk of it out, put it over here. That's going to be to handle all your other stuff. Take another chunk, put it over here. That's going to be what you're going to be able to spend it on. Whatever you want to spend it on, you spend that money on. We need to separate our money. If you automate it, it makes it even better. You can automate credit card payments. You can automate investments. You can use the Acorn app. It'll take $10 a week out of your paycheck and put it into the stock market for you and watch your money grow. You ain't even gonna notice that $10 a week. So we have to stop. We as a coach, I feel like I have a responsibility to also understand that old habits die hard. So instead of me trying to force you into a habit based off of me relying on you and your work ethic, based on the fact you've never had a high one, we're going to establish automations in place. So you're not even going to see this money coming out of your bank account because it's going to hit in this other bank account before you even notice that it's gone. Like, you're going to take this money and automate and get you a Acorn account, which is free. We're going to set this Acorn account up to where it's going to take $20 a week out of your pay, or $40 every 2 weeks out of your pay, and then it's going to send it over here, and you're not even going to even see it when you look at that balance, because if you see it in your balance, then you're going to think you have it to spend. We're going to automate. That's one thing I do preach. Automate as many things as possible so you don't have the burden of trying to figure out, remember how to do this, remember to pay this, remember to do this. No, just automate it. Automate it all, and then you can spend what's left over, because what you have left over will be the net. Your gross is what you had coming in. You send it over here. You got a bill account over here. You got the savings account over here. You got your tax account over here. You got the net profit over here. And then your spending money go over here. You don't have to worry about having to worry about maintaining all these things.
Interesting. I recently watched a podcast, and the topic came up about real estate. And one of the guys was trying to explain to the other guy that you could buy a property and there are laws, tax laws set in place to where you could depreciate that property for up to like 15 years or something like that. And then go ahead and like take the equity out of it for like the next 15 years. And then after you get the equity out of it, you could turn around and sell the property. And you could keep the equity that you depreciated out of it for the next 15 years. And you can use that money to possibly buy another property, and basically do the same thing, depreciate that next property for 15 years and continue that thing. And but the question is, I say that to say there are so many tax breaks that are made for people with money that people who've never been in those kind of financial situations are probably not aware of. And so like what are some things that, like, how could a person study like some of these tax breaks and stuff? Like I have a guy, he's an artist friend of mine, and a lot of the things that he does, like buy clothes to do concerts, get his hair done and stuff, for concerts and stuff. He was telling me one day that he writes those things off on his taxes at the end of the year because he has an LLC under as being a recording artist or a live performer. I'm not sure if you can write off 100% of that stuff, or like, how can you kind of describe to us a little bit about how tax breaks or certain tax breaks? You don't have to get too detailed into it, but like you can buy a 6,000 pound, as long as a car weighs 6,000 pounds, there's certain tax breaks that you could get on that car, that you could write off, that you could buy a car and say, this is for my record label. I bought this car for my record label. And then at the end of the year, as long as it weighs 6,000 pounds or more, there's certain tax breaks. You could get probably half of that car money that you spent back, or not, or basically not have to pay it in. I'm really not I haven't done a lot of research on it, but could you kind of talk about some of the tax breaks or just how some of that stuff works?
Oh yeah, man. So first, let me establish, I am not a tax professional. I have never been a tax professional. I always tell somebody, if you have any questions, to go see a tax professional. However, I can tell you, based off of what I've learned over my time in business, in terms of taxes, tax breaks, just the whole idea of taxes, because there is a ongoing thing right now where everybody is worried about how to get tax breaks. I will tell you that based on my research, because I actually first I'm listening to it through people who I trust. I also have an accountant. I also have a tax person. Shout out to Gwinnetta Wright. She always keeps me up on the latest information. But you also sometimes you just have to go look at it yourself. So I've actually you can go to the IRS website and look up the tax code.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't cost you any money to go look. It may be a lot of information, but you can go look. You can Google what you're looking for, and I'm pretty sure the first line that comes up will be from the IRS website. So, I first always say ignorance is no excuse. Now, however, you have to also do your own research, because a lot of these people that you listening to are gonna get you messed up. Because IRS, through my own research, experience, conversations, like, can you write off almost anything? Yeah, technically. Should you write off everything? No, because let's use this for example. You are somebody who you have a business. Let's say you make $100,000 a year off this business, and let's just say you make $100,000 off of this business, but you're writing everything off. So at the end of the year, you wrote off $90,000 in expenses. You turn that in. So your business has made $10,000.
You're gonna get audited first of all.
Like, exactly. You're probably gonna get audited. People get so worried about saving money on taxes and tax deductions and all these things. You need to worry about making the money first. Like, I cut 5-figure checks to the IRS. Like, I've cut 6-figure checks to the IRS. So I know the IRS does not play.
They want their money.
On top of just the mentality of where we typically start off in terms of how much money we're making versus how much money you're paying in taxes, you also have to look into the component of, in the event that you were ever audited, you have to show receipts for these things. On top of, the key is with the IRS, it has to be ordinary and necessary to run your business. So if I buy a Gucci shirt, I'm going to have to be able, the burden is on me to justify to the IRS in the event they come knocking that this was necessary for me and ordinary for me to run my business. If you only make $100,000 a year, why is it necessary for you to buy a $200,000 car? And that's your only car. So it's not like you're saying you're renting this car out. You have another car. This is the only car that you have. So you're trying to tell me the only car that you have, you get for 100% business 100% of the time.
Yeah, I needed that G-Wagon. I did. I needed it.
Like, come on. As soon as you take it to the grocery store, it's no longer business plan. Now, you take it on the opposite end of that spectrum. If I go get some custom clothing made with the Memphis Joke Show, I can write off the blank apparel and the cost to get it made, because this is promoting my brand and promoting my business. Just because you throw a sticker on the back of that $200,000 car with your Instagram logo or your website, it's ordinary and necessary. Now, if you are a real estate agent, you have lunches and dinners with clients. You have to take clients of a certain caliber to showings and viewings. So you could convince somebody that is ordinary and necessary for you to run your business based on the clientele that you have. But it's not going to work if you don't have anything or any proof or anything showing for it. So I really want people to start getting more focused on getting cash flow and getting capital, and then just pay your taxes. Because even then, say you want to buy a house, if you writing off everything and you're not showing no income,
Can't buy it.
it may work in terms of the IRS for now, but then guess what you want to do when you want to go buy a house? You're not going to show any money, because that money you made from your business is not your personal money, especially if you separated yourself from the business. So if you've done your thing properly, where you're making enough to where you have an S corp, so you have an LLC, and a sub property of that is an S corp, which means you and your company are separate bank accounts, separate bills, separate pays. I am a employee of my company. I get a salary, I get a check every week. I pay taxes on that money that I make on my check. The business as a whole, after business expenses, the business doesn't pay any taxes, because what's going to happen is my business makes X. I subtract my deductions and my business expenses, and then whatever is left over gets sent through the business to myself and my wife, because we're the owners. Now, the key to that is, if we didn't have it separated and I made $100,000 and I had $20,000 in business expenses, that means $80,000 plus my salary is going towards me.
Yeah.
So that doesn't even make sense for you as an individual. So before we even get into like tax breaks and things like that, first I got to tell people to worry about making the money first, and don't try to write off everything just because somebody told you can write it off, unless you got a very knowledgeable accountant that can set you up to make sure that you are keeping your documentation and that you are keeping your paperwork and that you have a bookkeeping system in order. But don't just try to write off. Don't go out here right now and your business making $50,000 and you trying to get a $150,000 car. That's not going to make any sense.
Nah. Listen, tax breaks are for businesses who are creating jobs.
Yes.
At the basis of it, like, this is what I've learned through my research. Like, these tax codes and these tax breaks, they are for people who are creating jobs for the economy. And so the government wants to give them a break for stimulating the economy by giving people jobs. And so I totally agree with you. Focus on getting the business right first, and then that other stuff can come. Because like when I was looking at it, like, even when you start looking at writing off mileage and stuff like that for your business, man, if you're not driving enough miles, like, you have to keep proper documentation of all of this, and you have to be able to prove this, and you have to keep these in files. And like, if the IRS come knocking, hey, we want to do an audit on you, we need to see all of your expenses and paperwork from 2021. Can you show that to us? And
you can't show it because you ain't keeping no paperwork. You just happy to have some money.
You using the same bank account.
If you just happy to have some money, that's cool.
Yeah.
But just make sure in the beginning, if you just happy to be here, spend your money like you happy to be here.
Yeah.
And then as you start to gain more money, then go ahead and start getting an accountant, getting a tax preparer that can let you know, like, hey, like, I got somebody personally who I can go to and call and be like, hey, I'm thinking about going on this trip.
Yeah.
How can I make this into a business trip? And even then, they may tell you, which I've been told, depending on what it is, that why poke the bear?
Yeah.
Because right now, if you are multi-millionaire, it may be a little different for you. Because if they come knocking, you can afford the best lawyers and you can do all these things. But if you make it under $500,000 a year, $300,000 a year, $200,000 a year, you need to have the back end stuff in order first, which means that you need to probably not be writing off that family vacation 100%. Just go 50. That way you can at least say half the time was business, half was personal, and even then you have to make sure that you kept a time loop of what you did business wise. You just can't say it. You gotta show me a photo. You gotta show me a promo video.
Minutes from the meetings.
Minutes from a meeting. Just something. And if you can't do that for a lot of money, you're not gonna be able to do that for a little bit of money either. So that's why I'm like, instead of, even if you're in the music industry, I know a lot of people, now more than ever, you have a lot of people in the music industry that are getting their own buzz. They're making their own, using their own social media to get their own buzz, but they don't even need the record label. But the record label has money because they have signed 20 of you, and they're making money off of 20 of you, where they can give you $50,000 to own you for the next 3-4 years. So instead, how about you and your people who you already have hanging around you, who don't make money on your behalf, who don't have jobs, but you got the buzz? How about you starting your own LLC for your own label? All of you get your credit established and go get a loan from the bank and use the money from the bank to fund your tours and your hotels and your concerts and your merchandise. And you'll have to pay significantly less interest on that money than you would on record label money. And if you can attest, the record labels, they're not trying to work out in your best interest unless you got some real heavy sway, and that don't come till later on.
And on top of that, I want to add that, if you did it the way that you said do it, you'll still own your masters and your copyrights and all that stuff and your publishing and stuff. If you do it when you go through the label, they're going to give you that same loan, but the interest rate is going to be higher. And when you walk away, they own everything. You don't own nothing.
Hit the horn right now. That's what we're going on, man. So this is why we need to have conversations like these, because like I said, I was just at a panel 2 weeks ago, and a young dude, he's about maybe 21, 22. He walked up to me after the panel was over because he was trying to start a clothing brand, and he heard me on the panel. So he was in the back. He walked up to me and, started asking me questions. He said, man, I'm 21 and I'm from, somewhere in Atlanta. He said he didn't want to go back to what he was doing or where he was before. So he was trying to figure out, capital and cash flow and business. And I sat with that man for like maybe 30, 45 minutes, just hearing him talking back and forth, just give him advice, give him a little bit of game, tell him go here, do this, set this up, put him in contact with other people, because I feel like we need to have those conversations. And if we don't have those conversations, then we're all going to be worried about either somebody scamming us or somebody not having our best interest. Like, yes, at the end of the day, I'm in business to make money. Like, make no mistake about it. Anybody in business not to make no money is not a good businessman. However, two things can be the same, where I can say I am in business, but the business that I have or the product that I sell is my experience and my knowledge, with the hope that you are able to get where you're trying to go as well. What you got going on don't do nothing. Like, don't hurt me. I'm established at this point. So just because I see you succeed, it's just like the grocery store. You go to the grocery store and you'll see Fruit Loops, you'll see Circle O's, you'll see colored circles, you'll see all these different types of the same cereal that probably came from the same company, but they all price different based on the bracket that they're trying to sell to. The same food or the same cereal that you see at Walmart probably came from the same factory as the cereal you see at the Dollar Tree. It's a different bracket altogether. So we just have to establish what we're trying to do, what our goals are, and then finding people who can influence us to really put our best foot forward in those spaces.
Medicines too. Like when you go get your medicines and stuff, like you'll think, oh, Advil, that's a big brand, so it's gonna heal my headache quicker than Equate or whatever the brand is. But like you said, they probably all got made at the same place. They're just packaging, slap a different label on it. And sometimes I find like the Equate help my headache faster than the Tylenol.
It's all marketing, man. I think one thing I can say, man, if you could understand marketing and really figure out your niche when it comes to marketing, then I feel like you'll be able to do anything you want to do, because that goes back to figuring out who your audience is. And once you figure out who your audience is, you can figure out, the phrase pain point gets used a lot. And some people think it's a dirty term, but I don't think it's a dirty term, because there's not a person or a company that's selling you anything that's not trying to solve a problem that you have. When you see a commercial on an ad on YouTube, or you see an ad on TV, anything like that, their commercial is to try to convince you that they can solve whatever problem that you have. Even down to if you watch Nickelodeon and there is a ad for a brand new toy, you don't think of that as being a pain point, but their goal is to try to convince your child based on colors and based on imagery, based on the kids smiling, based on the house that they live in, based on the parents' reaction. All those things are used to convince you that this toy, or convince your child that this toy is going to change their life. And if they can get your child to be convinced of that, and they know 9 times out of 10, you can't say no to your child, that's going to equate to a sale for them. They just have to convince the child. That's why colors is important. That's why background is important. That's why setting is important. That's why even down to the pitch of the voice in the commercial, when the kids are yelling, they're like, yeah, and this is fun. And man, it can do this. It's very high pitched. It's very exciting. It's very initiating. So your child automatically has a vision in their head that they're going to have the same fun with that same toy. It's all marketing. So you have to figure out how you can figure out whatever you're doing, whatever you're selling, regardless of whether you have a ebook and a course, or whether you have a service-based business or a product-based business. You have to figure out who your audience is, what problem do they have, and how can you solve it in the most efficient way. And sometimes that could just be opening their eyes to what they already can do. You just have to steer them in the right direction. That's 9 times out of 10. That's what the people that I run across with coaching. These people have the bachelor's degrees, master's degrees. They have she had multiple franchises in California of cupcake places. All these people have things going on. They just can't get over the mental hurdle of the thing that they're trying that's brand new that they never tried before. So, and anybody should start with, who am I talking to? Who is this message for? 20 to 45 mothers of 3, single mothers, people with not so good credit, people who don't have vehicles, people who are trying to get on their feet. Figure out what the pressure point is and the pain point is to better assimilate your message to that audience, and then grow that audience. Don't try to grab everybody and then try to give the same message to everybody, because everybody's going to interpret that message in different ways depending on where they're at in their journey. And I just give you another example. I did a coaching call with a client, and she wanted to be, I hope she's watching, she wanted to be a grief counselor. And she wanted to go and speak to, different platforms and go do live events to help people, with different kinds of grief. And unfortunately, she had went through that exact scenario. Unfortunately, she had lost a child some years back. And before we even could get to the business side and the how you're going to make money off of this platform, I first had to ask her, okay, well, have you gone through your grief cycle? Like, have you gone through your process? Because what's going to happen is you're going to get in front of people who have unfortunately sad stories, and they're looking to you for advice. They're looking for you for guidance. And if you haven't gone through that process yet and are able to give them the steps that you have gone through, not only is it going to be bad for your clients and your audience, it's also going to be very emotional for you, because you're not going to be able to hold it together. So before we even get to making money and bank accounts and all those type of things, we have to open you up on a personal level to be around the people that you love and establish that you're hurting, that you're still grieving, that you haven't been able to talk to somebody. And then once you're able to go through your step-by-step process, that's the key to having a successful business or successful platform, because then you can take your step-by-step experience and package it up to be able to relate it and sell it to the masses based off of your personal experience. That's why when we go back to AI can't replace how a grieving mother handled the loss of her child. And that experience and all of those steps and all of those emotions that she went through during that process, and probably still going through. AI can't replace that.
Yeah, that person I'm a firm believer personal connection will always sell. It'll always draw people in, and it will always help you convey your point. There is no amount of technology, there's no amount of script writing that's going to help you. Even if you think about actors, right? You can write a script, but it still takes the actor, their experience, getting into the character, understanding it in order for that script to be sold to an audience that's going to watch it. So, you can have this fantastic thing that's, theoretical, but like, if you really can't make it relatable, you really can't make it actual, then it's going to be hard to sell anything. It's going to be hard to even convince people to believe what you're saying.
Exactly.
And, I think like a lot of times, and some of this stuff, it just comes with people having access to people all the time. And I think it's become hard for some people to decipher between what's real, what's authentic, what's fake, what's not real. what's a joke, what's not a joke. I think it's really tainted how people can understand just emotions these days, because it's so much stuff that's out there, and people don't take enough time to be around regular people either. I think that's another element that's missing, like personal connections. Like people don't spend enough time around people. It's hard to kind of gauge what this digital world is doing to people, because people don't really understand their own emotions. They really don't understand
that's good.
What's happening, you know?
That's good. I think people don't understand, like, exactly what you said. Before I can go out here and decipher anybody else and figure out what anybody else's intentions are with me, I have to figure out what my own intentions are with myself. Yeah. A lot of us are realistically out here lying to ourselves. And because you're lying to yourself in that you're telling yourself that you want certain things or you want to get to certain levels, and you really don't. And how I can tell that you really don't is you don't want to sacrifice. Like you're not willing to concede even to people who are telling you based off of a place of being where you're trying to go. You still don't want to give up. You don't want to give up something because it doesn't make any sense to you. Yeah. It would be something like if you played basketball and you could drive to the hole like Derrick Rose or John Morant, but you didn't have a jump. And your coach told you, like, man, I know you can get to the basket at will. But because you can do that and the defense knows you can do that, we need to start working on you having a more reliable jump shot. Yeah. And then you go to the coach and be like, hey, what you talking about, man? Like, I don't need that. Like, the coach has been coaching for decades. The coach has seen more players than you have. The coach has seen from experience what he's trying to teach you and the pitfalls of you not listening. And you still don't want to listen to him, which is cool. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But don't lie to yourself about it. Don't try to blame the coach for your lack of listening. And I feel like a lot of people don't listen to themselves. Like, you don't want a business. You just want the stuff that comes with the money from the people that you see making a lot of money from business. Yeah. But you're also not looking at those people who have a business and can't get any traction whatsoever. You're just looking at what you want through the prism of, okay, how can I get what I want? Oh, I need to start a business. A business is going to make me $500,000. Or I need to start that then. You don't really want to do this. Like, you don't really want to be a leader. Like, you don't really want employees. You just want to be able to say that you run people. And to me, that's the difference between a boss and a leader. To me, the boss has their own version of a plan in place, and they're going to give you the plan based off of their own whatever they're thinking of, and they want you to execute this thing the exact way they gave it to you, and they're the authority in this situation. And then if it all goes bad, then they got to be the player and not the system. Yeah. A leader to me is in the front. A leader is like, not only are you in the forefront of whatever's going on, you're probably the last one to get paid. You probably get the least amount of credit. And at the same time, when it comes to being a leader, you take the responsibility. If I hire somebody and they're not doing the job as efficiently as I would like, to me, where I'm at in life, there's some version of what I told them that I didn't make clear. Maybe I didn't give you clear instructions. Maybe I didn't have SOPs in place, standard operating procedures. I didn't have, a guide in place. When we first started and I had somebody answering emails, I was just like, hey, here's the email address. When the emails come in, they're going to ask very basic questions, and then you just kind of handle it. Here's access to the website, and you go about your business. And then what I realized after a while is you're going to get the same basic questions. So if they're going to get the same basic questions, why don't I create a booklet of standard operating procedures to let you know commonly asked questions and how to answer the most commonly asked questions, so you can be more efficient at your job, so you don't have to email me or text me or call me and say, hey, I've never ran across this before. How do I answer? Or, hey, I know you said to answer it like this, but I forgot. Can you remind me? Like, no, you have a document, you got a booklet that you can rely on based on my personal experience with this customer service field, and I'm gonna give it to you That way, I don't have to train everybody hands-on, everybody I bring in. Everybody gets the same SOPs. They get the same procedures. They get the same documents. They get the same videos. They get the same pictures because I'm basing it off of everybody who I hire and what I've had to teach them. They get the same thing. So I think we all just overall, to put a bow on that, we all just have to stop lying to ourselves in terms of you just want the things. You don't want the work that comes with the things, because if you wanted to put in the work to get the things, you would have put in the work already. You don't need 7 mentors and 5 courses and 3 ebooks and that motivational podcast that you listen to every Monday, and you listen to it every Monday, and it gets you all excited and it gets you revved up. And then Tuesday, you don't make no moves whatsoever. So just stop lying to yourself. When you're ready, you'll know that you're ready. But if I try to make you make a move when you're not ready, you're going to mess it up. You're going to mess yourself up worse than if you would just take your time. And when you're ready, your mind will tell you like, man, I'm kind of tired of living the way that I'm living, like really tired. And I'm going to start making some changes. Then you'll be more open to coaching and mentoring and criticism and reading and education and knowledge. You'll be much more open at that point. But in the beginning, just not lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Yep. I just want to remind everybody, man, that the phone lines are open. So if y'all got any questions for my cuz, man, y'all can call in right now, 901-410-0123. We want to hear from y'all, you know what I'm saying? Because I know y'all might have questions that we might not have asked yet. Because every time this is, the second time that we have Ryan on here, but I learn so much every time, and I know there's still much more. So hopefully we can get him on here again after tonight. But
you're gonna make me a recurring guest at this point.
Yeah, yep. Hopefully, man, because there's so much knowledge that you have and so much that you have to give, and so much that people need to know and learn. That y'all should call that number. If y'all don't call that number, man, you know what I'm saying. If y'all got a question, don't wait till after the episode over and then start blowing my phone up. Yeah, but there's a lot of knowledge, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of wisdom that my cousin has learned over the years and stuff, man. We're blessed to have him live right here tonight. So you know what I'm saying. So just letting y'all know, just wanted to remind y'all that the phone lines are open. You know, the numbers on the screen, but from that, you know what I'm saying, let's keep going, man. Let's keep going, man. The conversation is like super interesting, man. So we were talking earlier about supply and demand. Oh man, I don't want to get too deep, but do you believe that there are some companies out there who create problems and provide the solution? Like such as I've heard about certain like record labels and stuff. They sign these artists and they promote like this gangster kill music, and they also have private stock. They have stock in private prisons, so it's kind of like they're providing the problem and the solution. They own stock in the what they so-called deem as the solution as well.
Yeah, man, I think, are there companies and people who, like you said, they have the supply and they create the demand behind the scenes for the supply? I definitely think so. I think there are a lot of major. Yeah, you gotta look at it. And let's say for example, they're not even doing it directly, because let's just say they're not having a direct hand on it. I think it would be unrealistic for us to think. And I'll break it down on a lower level here. So let's just say we're in high school. Typically, of course, high school is all about groups. So people group up based on whatever they group up for. And they all sit in a very specific section at the lunch table because they have common interests or common goals or common neighborhood, or whatever the case may be. If we think that that's happening at that level, then it would be unrealistic for us to not assume that it's not happening at the state levels, the federal levels, the big company levels. Because if I am a gun company who makes guns, for example, the only way I'm making money is by guns being sold. So when I cast my vote, or when I lump in with businesses, or I'm watching the news, whatever the case may be, are you hoping for any type of, national incidents? I wouldn't think so. But if there is a surge of guns because of a certain fear, and everybody's so afraid they start stocking up on guns, I just don't think they would have a problem with that. And I think, yeah, there are some people who are, doing the supply and the demand. And depending on what it is, it sounds like it's a very business-minded tactic, because some people don't look at you as a person. They look at you as a customer, or a number, or a figure, or a dollar amount. So when you get so high up on the food chain at a certain point, you're not close enough to the everyday person to even really notice it, other than profit and margins and loss and growth and, things that are on a spreadsheet. So I definitely do feel like there are occasions where people are increasing the demand, increasing the supply by also having the demand. But what you can do with that, because there's not a lot of things you can do about it, other than, of course, casting vote, and not just for
federal or national thing, not just the president. We're talking like on the local level, because you can attest, a lot of people's things that they complain about are things that are handled at the local level first. So if you're not even aware of what's going on at the local level of where you're at, your city, your county, your district, things like that, you need to get hip on that first, because you'll be surprised how many people, even in your own city, your own state, are lobbying to get things passed on that level that is also producing other things. So
Yep.
you get down to, public housing and food stamps and government assistance, things like that. There's a whole larger conversation with that.
And healthy foods, like in healthy foods too, like your fresh markets and your
food deserts. There's
Yep.
tons of food deserts out here. That's why you'll see, depending on where you're at, you'll see a Dollar Tree before you see a Kroger, a Winn-Dixie, or wherever, depending on where you're at, a grocery store that has fresh produce.
Yep.
That's why healthy food is more expensive than regular food.
Yep.
So you have to assume that either A, it just costs more to make this money, so therefore, it costs more to make these products, so the profit margin has to reflect the market as such. Or B, which you can also assume is it's more expensive because they want you to buy the other stuff, because you're gonna end up buying more of it.
Yep.
So you gotta think about it, man.
Or C, they have stock in the hospitals too, and if they can get you to eat enough bad stuff.
Well, look, they know. Everyone knows what's going on. We, I'm not a big conspiracy guy.
No, it's not. Yeah. That's why I said I didn't want to go too deep.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to go. That's why I said let's not go too deep.
Yeah,
but but it's just something to think about. That's just a gem for some people out there to think about, though.
I think the reality is, right, it's capitalism, right? There are people out here who want to make money for whatever their interest is, and they're going to put their money wherever they can make money at. There are people who get paid to study, watch markets, to see trends, to predict where things are going. And so if you are a gun manufacturer and you know what happens when people get shot with guns, you might say, hey, I sell guns. I can make a profit here, but I can also make a profit from investing in private hospitals, because when people get injured or get hurt with guns, they got to go to the hospital, right? You know what I'm saying? And so some of it's just about capitalism.
That's exactly
right. Yep.
The question I have for both of y'all would be during the pandemic, for example.
Yep.
Pandemic was happening. Unfortunately, people were losing their lives, and it was a very sad state. My question would be, should a person feel bad if they, during the pandemic, started investing in medical stocks and they were making money off of those stocks because medicine and medical expenses and the shots were on the rise? Should you feel guilty about investing in medicine
during a pandemic?
No,
My personal
no,
opinion, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, if your conscience tell you that's the thing you shouldn't invest in, that's one thing. But if you're looking primarily, right, if you are an investor and you're looking where you can make money, right, there is a demand for medicine. You know,
Yep.
so guess where you're gonna put your money at? Where there's a demand at, and I mean, for some of this is the business tactics that are just they exist, right? And I think sometimes you can invest in medicine, but that doesn't mean you don't care about the people who it's impacting, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
could look at the mindset and say, I'm investing money here so they can use this money to create more drugs to help people with more illnesses, right? Like, yeah, am I making money off it? Yeah, but in the end, my end game here is for them to have more capital to work with to come up with more solutions for this particular medicine that's needed.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
That's key, man. I think even to kind of bring it back round circle on the business side, I think we all have to decide at a certain point in business what you're in business for and what decisions you're willing to make, because that exact question and conversation that we just had is the exact one that a lot of entrepreneurs have on a daily basis when they're trying to come up with whatever they're trying to do.
Unknown caller.
Yep. We got a caller, y'all. Yo, what's up? You on the Memphis Joke Show with Ryan Henning.
Turn your background down there.
Hello, are you there?
Hi, I'm here.
Turn your background down. Turn the show down in the background.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, hi. So I'm Dynasty. I am part of the Reignland Credit Academy, and I want to thank Ryan for continuing to hold knowledge. I just had a few questions when it comes to content creation and branding, but I want to talk on the faceless level for those who.
Oh, you sound like your phone dropped
Loser?
out. Yeah.
Oh,
Did you lose a Jux?
No. Can y'all hear?
no, we can't
Or
hear
it
it.
connected to your AirPods, didn't it?
Oh, let me make sure it didn't connect to my
Can you hear me?
AirPods.
Now we
there
can
we
hear you. Yep, you're back now.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I want to ask him on a faceless level, which I've known it to be anonymous branding for the past 6 years I've been in it. So 2 questions I have for him is, one of them being, how can I effectively build trust and credibility with my target audience while maintaining my faceless brand? So when you look at the brands like Shein and Temu, we really don't know who those owners owners are behind those brands, but those are multi-million-dollar, like billion-dollar probably companies. So I want to know that being my first question.
Ooh, that's a good question.
So
That's a good question.
just to make sure, you say you have a faceless brand?
Right. So I build a mug company, but within the mug company with print on demand. So I'm speaking from how to continue to test out like my key metrics and the measure of the success part of the faceless brand. Because it's kind of hard to build that know, and trust within your audience, especially trying to produce that content behind the faceless brand.
Right. Okay. So in your instance, because like I said, if you got, whether it's print on demand or whatever the case may be, if you're trying to build credibility without either showing your face or speaking directly because you're selling something different, then I would always tell people, in that case, the best way to build credibility is by A, showing up, B, making content, but making engaging content. So I follow a couple of, I live here in Atlanta. So there are tons of print on demand and screen printing and heat pressing companies that make t-shirts and jackets and things of that nature. So they have a lot of content where it shows things like their inventory, and it shows how much inventory they have, or it shows their printing process from start to finish, and just has a caption at the bottom. They use client testimonials. If you're not going to physically show your face and talk to a camera to talk about how great your brand is, then the next best step is to use your customers to be able to tell everybody how good your brand is. So you're going to need testimonials. You're going to have to ask for reviews. You're going to have to ask them to show their face. And that depends on whether you want to, if they're returning clients, then they can do it that way. If you want to offer some type of free gift or free press or free order in exchange for a future free gift in exchange for a video testimonial, then you can do that as well, because then you can parlay that testimonial into emails, into social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can chop it up, make it into a reel, put it on your story. And then as you start to build those testimonials, you start to post those 5-star reviews. You post video, not of yourself, but of the goings on of the business. That's still building credibility with your audience, and you still don't have to be seen.
Oh, man, that was some good advice.
Is she still there?
Jack, she's still on the line?
Oh, we lost her.
Yeah, I'm still on the line. I don't know why. I don't know why we
There you
keep.
go.
can hear
There
you.
we go.
I think every time you mute Jux, I think it might mute her.
Oh, when I muted.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It might be.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So the second part of that I want to know is how can one optimize a marketing funnel, and how important is that to convert leads as far as being a Facebook brand? Because I know you have to work around all the other metrics of digital marketing when it comes to Facebook. So do you feel like marketing funnels are top priority when it comes to your content?
I feel like when it comes to content in general, it can work depending on what your content is. So, for example, if I'm selling a digital guide, then it may behoove me to have a marketing funnel, because then I can have a video, people click on the link, and it takes them to the ebook or the guide, and then I can give them a discount on it if they decline. There's some funnels that if you click no thank you the first time, then it'll give you a discounted price. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to get your email to be able to give you email blasts later on anyway. Now, like I said, that's an ebook. If I'm selling an ebook, a course, a service, I got an actual service, that's one thing. If we have something like a print on demand, for example, that depends on the business, because do you do print on demand and then ship out to different states, or is it just in person?
Yes, no, ship out to different states. So I have a Shopify store and things like that.
Okay, that's why I wanted to make sure. So, and you do, just give you more information. Do you do anything, or do you have a basic format of things that they have to choose from?
I couldn't hear you say that again.
Said, do you have a specific handful of items that they have to choose from design wise, or is it just whatever they want you're able to do?
So no. I just have right now I have motivational mugs. So it's broken down into categories like motivational mugs, sarcastic mugs, but it still all falls in the motivation. So they have so I have the mugs that I'll also match the candles as far as like upselling and things like that.
Okay, that's what I make sure. So I will tell you, just based off of some of my previous students' experiences, and even my own, because I don't pay for ads. I don't pay for kind of funnels cost as well. And at the time for us, funnels did not make, at least was already made funnels didn't make any sense. So I was my own funnel. And what I mean by that is I knew I needed to get your attention to get you through the door. And then once I got you through the door, I had a free sample product. And then I had a small ticket item. And I had a medium ticket item. And I had a high ticket item. And then I have coaching on top of that. So I had something for every level of person. So I knew it took more work for me to be able to get people in the door. But I would say for you, I would probably, as of right now, focus more on getting down to making my own content. Like your first question, I would probably focus on how to best utilize your time and your resources to make good content that's faceless, and then see where that gets you first, because word of mouth will get you farther than ads. Because a lot of times you may pay for ads for something and they may not convert. That is a gamble. That is a risk. So I would, at least before we get to that point, I would try to create content based off of a new vision for your business, like the background, the pressing from start to finish, having some type of raffle, some type of giveaway, something like that, getting your products in the hands of people with influence, impressing something for them. Those type of things, I would focus more on that to kind of build your, like you said, your credibility before I go and try to make ads or a marketing funnel to attract strangers, because you already have people on all your platforms. So we got to figure out how to convert 2% of the people on the platform that we have already before we start trying to reach out to people with ads and other things like that.
Got it. Okay, so that you answered my question perfect, because I was like, how can I just continue to make the six figures that I'm making, and I make multiple six figures with the print on demand, but some is not breaking that ice. Like, I need to do something different. So you answered that question very perfect, because I was looking into ads. I had never ran ads myself, but I know it has become a big thing. And then funnels either, I have never ran. So just looking at all these new things that has came out in the marketing, side, I'm like, oh my God. So you have answered my question perfect. Okay. Fantastic. That's all I had.
All right, fantastic. Now, we have another academy a couple days from now, so make sure you tell anybody you know.
Okay. Thank you so much. And first to the show. I will be tuning in.
Thank you so much for tuning. Thanks so much for calling in and tuning in.
First time caller is lit.
Okay, y'all have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. Man, those are some good questions.
Man, definitely.
And these are the type of people that end up in our academies. Like she said, she was part of one of our credit academies, and I always encourage them to think outside the box and to come up with things and ask questions. And I still talk to a lot of them. They still comment on stuff. I still try to answer questions when I can. That I try to make sure that community is strong, man. And once you're part of it, you making business partners, you making friends, you making connections, you get contact with us. It's like, I'm very proud of the people that come out of that community, man, because they really put their best foot forward.
Man, I'm really proud of you. I'm proud to say that that we're cousins, bro. Man, I'm proud of you, man. You're doing big things, man. You've always been inspirational to me and stuff, man. You continue to prove that that it can be done. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I had y'all album when we were kids, man. Come on, it was black, and it had like a baby blue cover.
Ooh,
like that thing. I had the CD. I played that thing out. Yeah, man. Like, cuz they were my idols, because I was like, man, they got the record deal, man. They gonna make it. That was the only exposure I had to anything related to not working a regular job. So and steal from y'all, man.
We were that album was called Call Me Up, and that thing we recorded it in, I want to say we recorded it in like 98 or 99, and it released like in 2000. I think yeah, we recorded it in 99 and it dropped in like 2000. That's been 24 years ago, bro. Oh snap! I'm telling my age. We telling my age.
That was crazy. Where I was like, man, when you see, I think anybody who listens understand, when you see somebody that is either related to you or you super close to have something that you've only seen like people on TV have, it does something to you, to where like you never really quite forget it, regardless of what happens after.
Thanks, cuz.
He has done major things after that and met major people after that. My first thought is, about that one CD.
Man, thanks, cuz that mean a lot coming from you. That mean a lot coming from you. I appreciate it so much.
Hours, man. You're like, no matter how, like, no matter. I guess that would be my advice for anybody listening right now. It's like, man, like, make an impact. At the end of the day, money is gonna fluctuate. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it can't change your life, it can't change your family's life. But what I can tell you is that with that money or with that financial gain comes a lot of responsibility. And you have to wake up with that feeling of responsibility, not to a point where it crushes you and it consumes you, but it should drive you to want to do better for yourself, better for the people around you. And I know when that time inevitably comes, whether I lose it all tomorrow or whether I, make multi-millions 2 years from now, I have too many people that can testify of me being consistent from middle school to high school to washing dishes. Like, there are people right now on my page, might be people watching right now who will see this, who stood elbow to elbow with me in a dish pit when he was washing dishes for minimum wage, or standing side by side making biscuits with me at a Cracker Barrel when we was both making single-digit dollars, or even sitting with me in a call center while we talking to people about their insurance premiums and things of that nature. Like, I have enough people where the resume on both ends, personally and professionally, speaks for itself. But that still doesn't mean that you can't still talk about it and give people exposure to it. But then you just also have the history to back it up. So I would encourage anybody, you have a story to tell. Somebody is trying to get where somebody is trying to get where you already are. You just think it's just not high enough of a platform. And then as you start to grow your own platform and you grow from your experiences, then you'll be able to upgrade the story that you tell. But your story is worth being told. And if you want to be a business person, you just got to figure out how to parlay that story into something that can help the next man or woman.
Wow. That pretty much wraps it up for part 2 of our journey, of our podcast journey with Ryan. I hope you come back and do more with us, cuz, man, your knowledge is like just invaluable. Like it's invaluable. Like it's you can't buy this type of information that can help you, man.
Anytime you want me to come back, you just let me know. We can make this a regular rotation occurrence.
Okay, I would love that.
We always want to have something to talk about because there's something that's happening every day.
Yep.
We figuring something out, and as long as we figuring out something every day, we know the audience is figuring out something every day. So, I'd be more than happy to come back regular rotation.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go around the room. Last final thoughts for the episode, part 2 of Ryan being on the show. Just let them know where they can find you at. How they can reach out to you, because like the coaching sessions are invaluable. Like I said, shoot, I'm gonna be calling you.
Yeah, we might all be calling you.
Hopefully I can get a discount, but I don't know, because I don't know though. But but that's what's wrong. That's what's wrong. I should pay the full price too, because I gotta support. Look, we gotta get out of that mindset to where we think we should get a discount. Oh, because we found, we gotta get out of that. I'm gonna pay the full price. But anyway, let everybody know where they can contact you.
All right, well, look, definitely, of course, main platforms, Facebook, by just my name, Ryan Henning. You see it there. Instagram, same thing, Ryan Henning _ TikTok, it's Mr. Reignland. Those are the main social media platforms. You can also, please, in order to support my kids as well, please go subscribe to the family YouTube channel. That is Hanging with the Hennings. So Hanging with and then my last name, Henning, and then with the S on the end. Hanging with the Hennings. Like I said earlier, we just amassed over 100,000 subscribers. Just got their YouTube plaque in the mail. Kids are very excited about that. So please subscribe to that. Just a good little insight on how we live on an everyday basis. Of course, you can follow my wife as well, Summer Rae Henning, on all platforms. Please go follow her. She also has one of the best, and I'm not just saying this because I'm her husband, one of the best content creation courses out. She put a lot of sweat equity into that. Everything from equipment to angles to how to find management, how to find brand deals on your own, even if you don't have millions of followers, is all in there. That can be found on the website, www.reignlandofficial.com, because I have you put it in the description as well. And then we also have a credit academy on September the 13th. We used to do these one per quarter, but then we kind of stopped for a minute to focus on other things. But the demand was so loud that we had to bring it back at least one time this year. So that will be available September the 13th. It goes officially on sale on the website at 9 a.m. Spots do fill up fast. It is always in high demand. It is a 4-week academy as opposed to 6. So we go by modules. We have live Q&As. I bring in special guests to talk about other money-making opportunities, wholesale real estate, buying real estate. I bring in other people in the credit field, credit repair business owners that I know as well. So we're definitely going to, give our students a lot of knowledge this time around, just like always. We even have new updated information as well. So that opens up September the 13th, and then it will start that following Monday. And then just as a Memphis Joke Store exclusive, if you want to use the hashtag new mindset, you can use that on Friday the 13th, and we give you $20 off. That's only if they made it to the end of this interview. You can get $20 off enrollment for the Reignland Credit Academy. Open September the 13th at 9 a.m. Spots do fill up fast, so I would not hesitate. If you want to learn about business, you want to learn how to build up your credit from scratch, how to fix it yourself, how to build business credit, how to parlay that into some financial gain and some extra streams of income, as well as a few other special bonuses and discounts, you don't want to miss that. It's definitely a good time. And as you can tell, based on that last caller and some of the people who I've seen kind of shoot messages on the screen here, the Reignland family always comes pretty deep. So I wouldn't want to miss out. Once you're in the community, you're in it for life. So.
Oh, you up to bat?
Hey, man, Ryan, first of all, man, appreciate you coming on again. As always, man, it's always an awesome experience. Last time you came on, hell, I left the show and went and bought one of your ebooks, man, just because I was so influenced by what you do here. Now, I haven't used it yet, but I'm going to use it now. I haven't used it yet.
Don't fall into that. Don't fall into that trap now. You want to open that thing up now.
But I do believe in investing in people who I believe in, man. So that's one reason why I went and purchased that. I'll probably go today, find something else that I feel like can help me and guide me, man. I think one thing you said tonight that really resonated was being prepared for the opportunities, man. That's how I summarize it up. All you talked about was being prepared for where you're trying to go, knowing where you're trying to go, knowing who you're trying to target, man. And so I'm going to take that and use that and make sure I can implement that into the things that I'm trying to do, man. But it was a great show. I appreciate you coming on. It's good to be back.
Man, it's been great. It's been a super great episode, man. I can't wait till you come back on. We're gonna do more of these and stuff, man. One of my takeaways was that know that you want the job before you start applying for it. Really, yes, sir. So we already know, everybody already know, what I'm saying? Hey, if you once I think I said this last time too. Once you come on the Memphis Joke Show, you family. But hell, you was family before I even before it was a such thing as the Memphis Joke Show. so anyway. Yep. With that being said, man, I love you, cuz, man. Stay on your grind, stay on your purpose. Keep motivating, keep inspiring people, man. Keep on, you know what I'm saying, pushing the Reignland brand, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to your family, man. It's peace and love, man. You know, if I'm here for it, if you need me, I'm here. Like you know the number. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's understood don't gotta be explained. Hey, we out. We love y'all. Thanks everybody for watching, man. Peace and love.
Peace.
Squad up, haters down, haters down. If you ain't about that life, don't come around, don't come around. Got the crowd, gone wild, gone wild. Tell me what you know about that milk style, that